Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name is Freedom. Thank you for joining me. In tonight's episode, I want to talk about whether or not the narcissist or the psychopath or sociopath can change. But before I start, please remember, if you're liking my videos, to like and subscribe to the channel, and also feel free to share the videos widely across other social media platforms. All right, so I've got a question here, and it's from Suzette, and she says, I can't help but think he's a changed man for this woman. He's not treating her the way he did me. I met her. She's actually very nice. Maybe he's not really a narc, but he has every trait. So there's a few things going on here. First of all, I'll address that particular question, and then I'll talk about whether or not narcissists and psychopaths can change in general. So when it comes to narcissists changing with new supply, what you're actually seeing is them on their very best behavior, them from a distance, because you remember, people looked at you and your relationship with them and thought, oh, wow, he's amazing. He's a great husband. He's a great partner, because don't forget, when they're around other people, they put on a performance because they're always sourcing new supply. So when you're seeing him with her, there's a couple of things also. I mean, she's making him look good because, as you just said, she's a lovely person, and it's sad because she's now a narc victim. But, she makes him look good because now you're thinking, well, if she likes him, maybe he is a nice bloke. Maybe he's not really a narcissist. You need to trust your instinct. Remember your reality. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. This is performance art. What you're seeing here, he's putting on an act. He's putting on an act for her, but he's also putting on an act for anyone who might accidentally catch him being a loving, good partner. He's doing it also for you, because you've got to remember, if you've gotten away from him or if you've been discarded by him, he wants you to crumble down in a heap and die without him, basically. And if you haven't done that, then he's suffering from a narc injury. So it's in his nature to now want to punish you and throwing the new supply in your face and showing the world how happy they all are and how happy and normal it all is. As I said, it's just an act. The whole thing, it's performance art. They are creatures of habit. They run their own little time frame. So if you look at his patterns, how long he was with you, how long he was with the one before, there's a pattern of behavior, and he will, I can guarantee you, he will live his pattern of behavior out. You may not be privy to it. You may not know what's going on behind closed doors, but I can guarantee you 100% that is what is happening. All right, so can they change? Let's talk about change. We know that narcs and psychopaths are predatory and manipulative by nature, but they are capable of change, just not the type of change you're hoping for. The kind of change I'm talking about is they can change their looks, their likes, their profession, their friends, their jobs, their dreams, their goals, their favorite foods, their favorite pastimes, their favorite movies, their taste in music. They can change all of those things, and they do change those things to mirror their new supply or new victim, or the victim, whoever they're with at the time. So there's method to the madness. You've got to remember, though, that is all an illusion. So yes, he can put on the performance of being a loving boyfriend, a faithful partner. He knows what that looks like. They're very good at putting on an act. Very good indeed. They pay attention to movies. They pay attention to television. They pay attention to the way normal people interact. They can see what a good husband looks like, what an attentive husband looks like. And, they can be out there rubbing her feet, putting nail polish on her toes, opening doors for her, cleaning the car windscreen for her. they can be cooking meals, vacuuming the house. They can be doing all kinds of things. It's all just a performance designed, as I said, with an agenda. Just remember that. There's always an agenda. So, but are they actually capable of changing their real behavior, their cycle and of their patterns of behavior? No, they are slaves to their programming. And it's just a matter of time. You will look back in hindsight and realize that he did the same thing to her. Exact same thing that he did to you, he'll do it to her. He will just change the way he's abusing her, because you've got to remember that's another thing that they change the abuse. So, for example, they might hit one girlfriend, but because the next one, for example, might not tolerate physical abuse, but she puts up with being emotionally and psychologically abused. So he will stop hitting the new girlfriend. He won't hit her. He'll just be emotionally and psychologically abusive. However, that doesn't mean he's a changed man. The very next supply he gets, he can revert back to being physically abusive if that is something the supply will tolerate. So you've got to remember that they have an agenda. They've got something they want to achieve. They want fuel. They don't want you to leave. They also want to be able to abuse you. So there's a fine line that they've got to walk between abuse, but not to abuse you so much that you leave. Just to abuse you to the point where you're bleeding fuel continually for them, because that is what they want, fuel. You know, and if you're crying, that's fuel. If you're trying to commit suicide, that's fuel. If you're having huge arguments with them and fighting, and it's all so passionate and romantic, and then you end up back in bed together, that is all fuel. So that's what they're aiming for. They don't want you to walk out the door, though. All right, so the problem with this concept of, you know, maybe they can change. There's two problems, but the key is, there's two ways that this is dangerous. One is if you're in the relationship with them, you know, having that little bit of hope that, oh, maybe he can change, that keeps you trapped, because that is hope. You know, you're hoping against all odds that yours will be the one who does change, that yours will be the one who's not really a narcissist. The fact is, you've identified that he has all the narc traits. So if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it probably is a duck, okay? So he probably is a narcissist. And one of the traits of a narcissist is they are chameleons and shapeshifters. Okay, so he can put on an act. So with the hope that this, you know, if he can change, I hope he can change, the hope is what keeps you trapped. Accept the fact that he's not actually going to change, and it will set you free. The other time that hope and this concept of, oh, maybe he can change, is when you've been separated from a narcissist from some time. Often people think, you know, oh, we've been apart for a while and he seems to have done some work on himself. He's come back and he's all apologetic and he's so much nicer now. You know, you've got to stop and think about it logically. Just because you've had time apart doesn't mean that he has changed. All it means is you have forgotten just how bad the abuse was, and he's been off doing other things, so his MO has changed. He's come back, and yes, he is different from the man you knew before, because the second that you guys separated, that man died. He disintegrated. He doesn't exist. He never existed. It was all just an act. He's putting on a different act for a different woman now. He will never be the same. So yes, he may come back in the future, and you may think to yourself, oh yeah, he really has changed. It doesn't make him not a narcissist. Okay, he's still a narcissist. He's just changed his clothes. Okay, he's just wearing a different mask. You need to get this through your head. You need to stop with this false hope. It's actually putting you at risk. These men are dangerous. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to romanticize it. If you haven't gotten away, you need to get away. And if you have gotten away, you need to stay away. Okay, get narc free, darlings, and stay narc free. That is my suggestion to you. All right, thank you for watching, and yeah, get narc free, darlings. Get narc free, stay narc free. Bye.